Okay guys, I just wanted to do a little video on just, general mind frame and positivity and all that stuff. Now, I'm not one of those people that's like a big believer in I know the power of positive thinking, but in some ways it seems like on occasion those particular mind frames kind of blame you for your bad circumstances because you didn't think positively enough. And that's something I've kind of always struggled with because it just seems really stupid. And it's like, well, I wouldn't be in a bad mood if bad things didn't happen. It wasn't really me who caused it or created it. And I don't really think that's the case. Now, my husband has this saying all the time, they don't make a pill for fucked over. And I believe that, honestly, it is difficult. And lots of us are put in circumstances outside of our own control. And really, the only thing that you have to realize is you have no control and no power over anyone else but the power of your own reactions to things. Now, this is training. Again, this is year 28 for me. My first aortic dissections were in 1995. It has taken an enormous amount of time for me to actually see that my mind frame and how I view things definitely has an effect. Now, obviously, it would have been more beneficial for me to realize a lot of the stress that I've endured may have had a really negative outcome years ago, but obviously we all live life and we do our best, and maybe I didn't always do my best. I've tried multiple therapists over the years. I haven't found them very helpful, though I did speak with a patient representative in the hospital, Looney, who actually convinced me that it would be good for me to speak with somebody else, an unbiased person, in terms of how I'm feeling and how difficult this is. Do not beat yourself up because you don't sound like me. It took me years. I was bitter. I was angry. I didn't know why everyone else got to have things while I didn't get anything. I have no assets. Again, we've talked about that. That's more about the state of healthcare in America than anything. I don't have children. I don't have a house. All these things that people take for granted. I was always just like, I just don't understand why I didn't get a chance. What did I do to anybody? And you know what? It's one of those things where they always say, oh, well, you're never given more than you can handle. And I don't really think that's true. Sometimes I have had so much shit that I just haven't been able to handle. And then it manifests like this. I really think that it's a practice like anything else. You have to practice being kind to yourself. You have to practice realizing none of this is your fault. If it wasn't why me? Well, why not you? Why does anything happen to anybody? It's just one of those things we all have to really, realize it's not your fault. But all the bad things that happen to people aren't necessarily their fault either. I've been watching this show like 1,000 Pound Sisters, and I'm like, wow, these girls kind of did it to themselves, but they're still able to have children and lives. And I'm like, it's a totally different medical circumstance because I was born with this. It has destroyed my body, but it seems like these girls in some respects, kind of chose it in some ways, and maybe they didn't. I don't know their lives. It's just one of those things that I've just realized we all have our own paths to walk on. We all have our own conflicts. We all have our own strifes, and I have tried my best to just come out better. There were points in time where I let this shit ruin me. I had no hope. I didn't care. I was mad at everyone else. Again, it took decades to get to the level where I feel comfortable enough to understand that I can actually try to use my own mind to make things work or make things more positive. Now, I actually ended up delaying my appointment with the surgeon to April 18th, a week later, because they wanted me to get these echocardiogram and CTA before I actually ended up seeing him. And I'm happy about that because that's an extra week that I can meditate. That's an extra week I can take this endothelial complex. That's an extra week that I have to calm myself down to prepare myself for the best possible outcome. Those are just my tips. Do not worry if you're not where I am. It takes time. I hope you are okay, and I will speak again soon.